Good morning and welcome to Nggist FM. This is Good Morning Nigeria and I'm your host, Edidion Nsima. Today we will be taking a look at Nigeria at 65. Are we still on the right path? And also, we will take a swipe at the federal government's removal of mathematics as a requirement for admissions into the University for Arts students. Stay with us as we bring you today's servings. Nigeria at 65. What would you say of Nigeria at 65? Are we still on the right path? It's been 65 years since Nigeria's independence, and we find that Nigeria is still struggling with a lot of things. For one, infrastructure, power infrastructure, actual infrastructure is a problem in Nigeria, with roads costing so much and, having breakages very frequently. Very frequently, you get into roads and then you find that there are still roads that seem like they have never seen the touch of man in ages. And then, of course, there is the dilapidated state of the hospital system in Nigeria. I mean, just a few weeks ago, Kwara State was like a marketplace with a lot of confusion as a pregnant woman lost her life and her kid in the process of birthing said kid because of the poor nature of resources and infrastructure. A missing doctor in the middle of the entire affair. It was such a sorted thing. This in a country that has seen 65 years of independence, that has seen struggle and turmoil. One begins to wonder, is there hope for a better Nigeria? If at 65, Nigeria still seems to be searching for its identity in a time like this. Let's talk about the epileptic power infrastructure, where for weeks, certain parts of the country can go without power. Let's not just say weeks, for months. There are people who haven't seen electricity in years. And Nigeria is 65. So who are we kidding? It is such a terrible thing that we get on and give speeches about how far we've come, how the worst is over, yet it only seems like the worst has not even begun yet. We are looking at the face of the worst about to begin. Where leaders are not accountable for their actions, where they are given resources or they're given approval for funding, and then these monies seem to go into private coffers or to other ends, not for the purposes they were earmarked. We see budgets being signed at the end of a year and the beginning of a new one, and then programs for which these budgets were signed are missing. We don't see these projects. Some of them are duplicated in a country that her democracy is supposed to be a beacon for others in Africa. One wonders, are we still on the right path? We're running from pillar to post, not seeming to know which way to go. A country that fights its own growth, its own citizens. For some reason, people are sponsoring actions by some quarters, some tanker unionists who are refusing to get products across the country to the people. There is a company that is bent on delivering the good life to Nigerians, and then some people somewhere feel they're going to lose money if the right thing is being done. And then when the company goes out of its way to find a new source, a new way of logistics, of moving product, it becomes a problem. How can a country be fighting development? And We say we're growing at 65. Well, I leave it to you to drop your comments on what you think about Nigeria at 65. Are we still on the right path? Away from that, it seems the federal government might be making a few strides. When you look at it, Nigeria at 65, it seems that the federal government might be making a few strides, at least one stride in the area of education, where the criteria for admissions into tertiary institutions have been, adapted to suit modern times. They've been, changed to suit modern times. For one, Nigerian students in the arts don't necessarily have to put in the mathematics for admissions into university. If you're intending to study law, if you're an arts student intending to pursue an arts related course, whether it be law, theatre arts, I think art education in general, you do not need mathematics anymore. One would say that is quite a leap for the Nigerian educational sector. There is more that could be done, but it appears that we are taking a step for once in the right direction. Because I would personally say, and yes, I do say, that in all of my adult life, I haven't had a situation where I've had to find X where Y is 5 or 3. So yes, I do think at this point that that would be a step in the right direction. Courses that are not, subjects that are not necessary for certain career paths should be struck off. And yes, striking off mathematics for arts students who do not need it is, in my opinion, Nigeria moving in the right path. So, we'll take a short break now. When we come back, we will continue with one more topic.
TerraQ or Rapjoy, unleash taste.
Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. You're still listening to Good Morning Nigeria on Nggist FM. I am Adidion Nsima. And yes, for the first part, we talked about Nigeria at 65 and we asked, are we still on the right path? We talked about the federal government restructuring of admissions policy into our tertiary institutions. And coming back, we would like to make one last have one last discussion before we go, and that is the looming ASUU strike. Now, federal tertiary institutions in Nigeria are experiencing what many would call a routine delay caused by the recent ASUU strike, the industrial action they're embarking on, citing government's refusal to honor its agreement with the tertiary teachers. Now, there were agreements and, they signed agreements with ASUU, federal government signed agreements with ASUU to improve the education sector, tertiary institutions in particular, and of course the welfare of the university academic staff, lecturers. Unfortunately, Nigeria is yet to honor that agreement. Rather, the Nigerian government is yet to honor that agreement. It seems to have reneged once again. These would be parts of agreements signed in 2000, or reached rather, in 2009. And for some reason, over 15 to 16 years later, these agreements have not in any way been met. And so ASUU has taken embarked on a 14-day industrial action warning strike, so to say, and the government has come up with a stance of no work, no pay, for which ASUU has called the federal government's bluff. Now, this, while one would commend ASUU for standing up for what it's being owed, we see that this is going to affect the academic process and, of course, the lives of students, innocent students. And it begs the question rather, what are we doing? We take a step forward, we take 10 backwards. We're doing this dance again where we in 2020, I think we had about 9 months of industrial action that kept students at home, lecturers at home. 2021, I think we had 8 months, and we started this race again. A lot of people were saying when President Tinubu came on board that industrial action is going to be something of the past, and it seems that that may not be true. That may not be the reality, as we are in the midst of one. Many institutions are about to begin, or were about to begin, a new session when this delay, this darkness started looming. And one wonders, how's the federal government going to react to this? Well, you don't have to wonder for long. The federal government hit the ASUU with no work, no pay policy. And, well, ASUU is calling their bluff. So we're really interested in seeing how this pans out. But I do believe that when you make an agreement with a person, you're supposed to stick to that agreement. If for some reason you delay, the delay should not be indefinite. But over 15 years, 16 years, now that is a delay that is becoming denial. They say delay is not denial. This delay is becoming denial. So the federal government should actually uphold its end of the bargain. The state of our university is it's worrisome, okay? But there are politicians who are really spending money like it's Christmas Day, and this is leaves they're throwing around, but nobody is putting it where it should go. ASUU is only asking that the federal government puts the money where it should go to. Put your money where your mouth is. So, let's see what the federal government is going to do by the end of this ultimatum. Okay, that's it on the Good Morning Nigeria on Nggist FM. I am Edidion Nsima, thanking you for being a part of today's activities. And for more information, please join us on Nggist FM. For a lineup of our programs, we have Nggist Business. We've got Nggist Business News coming up at 7:30 a.m. Nggist Sports at 8 a.m. Active Gossip at 8:30 a.m. Gist with Eddie Nsima at 9 a.m. News from Above at 10 a.m. Classy Generation at 11 a.m. And that is closely followed by Sun Rhythm at midday. Please do stick around and enjoy all our giftings on Nggist FM. Thank you.